So I'm sure it's just a lens flare, but you have like a blue glow around you right now.
Well,
I'm serious.
I was talking to the Octurians. Before I start, I just want to thank our higher guides for being here and creating this sacred space in this now present moment with divine crystal white light. Thank you. May everything that comes through on this call today be a benefit to everyone who is participating, whether now in this moment or in a future now moment. Wow. Yeah, it's so this morning I was really feeling the Christ energy,
Hmm.
and the angelic energies are really strong. I'm sensing today too. So the veil feels really thin today.
Very.
But I wanted to tell you about this experience. There's something else that's wanting to come forward first. It feels like it wants to kind of set the space for this information that's going to be coming through. So I'm just gonna tune into that for right now and see what that is that wants to come through. It feels like there's a question. There's definitely some information that wants to come through regarding the energies in the collective field right now. What I'm getting is that there are a lot of people within the collective that, yes, like they are focused, they're determined, and it's like they're also seeking confirmation.
Hmm.
Like they're like, it's sort of like they're working out a game plan and they're following what their intuition is guiding them to do, but at the same time there's sort of like this question off in their field that's like they're looking for a sign, like when you're driving in an area that you aren't too familiar with and you think you have a sense that you're going the right way, but you're kind of looking
Hmm.
for a sign. That's what's going on. Like people are looking for a sign of confirmation.
Absolutely correct.
So what I'm getting is that this information that's going to come through on this call today is going to speak to that. It's going to give that energy of confirmation to those who receive. I want to confirm that there is a portal. Okay, and it's going to translate differently for different people. What I'm getting is there are these portals to different planets, okay? And these portals are specifically for starseeds. They're not exclusive to starseeds, but they're specific for starseeds to connect with their home planets
Mm.
so that they can receive the information that they need to receive in their work here, so that they can receive that information and upgrades, energy upgrades, downloads, whatever. But what is happening is that these portals are, as we raise in our vibration and we raise the frequency of the planet, it's like we're able to connect with these portals that are in the upper dimensions easier than we had before. The other thing is, and I'm going to speak specifically to this Blue Avian portal that I connected with. This portal, as I mentioned in our previous call, that over time, there's been moments in human history where this portal came into the fifth and sixth dimension for starseeds and humans in general, to connect with these star beings on the Blue Avian planet and glean information. And I think that the Egyptians were like, that was during one of those times when this portal was in a lower dimension, and it allowed people to connect with and receive information through this portal. So it's come into this dimension again, kind of in a way it's materialized in this fifth and sixth dimension again at this time in human history. It would disappear and go into other upper dimensions where we weren't able to connect with it, but now it's dropped down again for this time in human history. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It's actually in line with some things I've been studying lately.
Excellent. So what this portal looks like for myself as a blue avian, and again, it may manifest in different shapes, but it's like this huge blue crystal. It's huge, and it just has all of this like light reflecting inside of it. Like the light is just moving, and I'm not really sure that the crystal is actual like like rock form,
Solid.
like a solid form. I kind of get the sense that it is kind of solid, but it's mostly light, and it's just this crystal of light.
As you describe it, I can see it very clearly in my mind's eye, which is interesting. It's like a white, almost like underwater light penetration.
Yeah, kind of, but it has that blue color. The prisms
Right.
that you see, it has that going on inside of it. But it's huge. So anyway, the other night, the day after the full moon, I was awakened in the middle of the night. It was around 2 something. I was just wide awake like that. The moon was coming in. I could automatically sense there were light codes coming in through the moonlight. And so I got up and I went into meditation, and I'm not sure how long I was in meditation. It feels like it was about 2 hours, but I'm not quite sure. But in this meditation, I felt my crown chakra open up, like the biggest it's ever opened. Like it was just like this fully unfolded lotus looking, and it was just being filled with this white light from these light codes of the moon. And then at one point I felt blue avian energy, their frequency come in, and I got really tired, and I heard them say clairaudiently to lie down. And but I didn't want to lie down. I didn't want to lie down because I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are here. Like, I wanted to talk with them, and they were like, just lay down, And so I laid down, and it was really different. I hadn't experienced this before. What I realized is that I started to bilocate. I was very present in my body, in my physical body, in my bed, and I was very much aware, very, very awake, very much aware of my body in the bed. But I also had this sensation of being pulled. I felt my astral body. I felt my astral body pull out of my heart. I was being led by my heart. And I felt my astral body pull out of my physical body, but I was still very aware of my physical body. And I went off to where I was just instantly there at this portal, at this huge crystal. And I started walking around the crystal. And I was just kind of like, okay, so they want to like communicate with, and I was sort of like, oh, this is different. I was kind of exploring in a way. But also really not knowing what to expect. And so I was like, oh, they must want to communicate with, and I thought they were going to like send me a message through this crystal. I thought it was going to be like me picking up the phone and going,
Right.
listening to what they wanted to say. And so I'm like walking around this crystal, and I noticed physically, because I'm bilocating right now. It's really, really bizarre. In my physical body, like there was a part in my head that was very strange. It felt activated, but it was like the back part of my brain had been activated, and myself and the other, where I was in the portal, I felt very activated in my heart, but the upper chest. And whenever I would try to communicate with them with my third eye, the way I usually do, it would get all
Yes.
static. But if I focused on that back part of my brain and I went into that space, it was like clear. It was so clear. Very odd. There is a part of my brain that was activated through those light codes. That's the only explanation that I've come up with so far.
I can follow along with that because, like I said, I felt over the last, I guess, 5 months, I've really had a very strong intellectual clarity. Two things stood out. One, how consistently I can recall the details of my first experience with higher self, right? But the other more notable thing was, and I've noticed this quite frequently, is the manner in which I can convey my thoughts and information. I can expand on a very deep topic from a very scholarly level almost for things that I shouldn't understand. And again, it was recognizing that that portion of my brain has been activated. Because I was, as a child, I never believed that you only use 10% of your brain. I was like, anyway, you know, because there's no reason why. That'd be like, you have upper body strength, but you have no use for it. Like, that's not how nature works. Everything in every molecular structure has a purpose. Every cell has a job. So you can't have this incredibly vast supercomputer of a brain and you only access 10% of it.
Right.
You show me any computer on the planet and you say you only have a C drive, and I'm like, yeah, but you have like 4 other drives that are sitting here. What are those doing? They're like, don't worry about that. No, there's something important on there. There's a purpose for that.
Right.
And
right.
yeah.
And
The way that I'm able to process the information and see what's happening in real time is almost like I'm attached to the Akashic record now.
That's head to toe chills right now. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. We're getting reactivated so that we can tap into the Akashic records. It's like that part of us is being activated to where it's like, bam, you are a scholar. You're a scholar of the Akashic records.
It's fascinating. It really is. Cause like I'm always now, it's like I'm hungry for that information or that confirmation, like you said. And it's less of a confirmation and more of a recognizing that it's like your brain is a librarian, right? You walk into a library and you say, I'm looking for a book on XYZ. And they go, perfect. And they go off and they come back with a selection of information that you have now at your fingertips. And access to the Akashic record is really no different. I can look at a circumstance or a world event and say, I need to get more information on this. I need to find the information that makes this more clear. And I'm literally intuitively drawn to the stuff. And then it can be very complicated and complex, and I understand it. And sometimes the knowledge, at least for me, comes in the form of not misinformation or disinformation, just an incoherent flow of information. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's like where the information comes from, it's disjointed, but my mind works immediately to figure out where the other pieces of the puzzle lie. And then I'm able to connect the dots.
Yeah. So going back, so I'm standing outside this huge crystal that I am aware that it's a portal, just kind of exploring what's going on. And a being walks through. I might cry.
Do it. Let it out. Because that's authentic. I like authentic.
Beautiful, beautiful masculine blue avian walks through. He walked through the portal. And at that point, I didn't feel afraid. I felt very much at peace. But I did start to question what was happening. And I actually kind of pulled away a little bit, and I said, is this real? Is this really happening? And I felt like this energy come to my heart, like just like this little burst of energy come to my heart. And it
Mm-hmm.
brought me such joy. I like actually giggled. I giggled and immediately knew like, yeah, this is happening. We did have an exchange, but I can't remember. Like we had like a verbal exchange. I think he was telling me what they were going to do. At one point, I saw some other beings come in to the space, and then I found myself lying on a platform. Like this real heaviness came over me, like a heavy, deep sleep. I mean, it wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
oppressive or anything. It was just like this heaviness of relaxation
Mm-hmm.
came over my body, both there and my physical body. And I remember telling them, I don't want to go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't want to go to sleep. And they were like, it's okay, just relax. And I remember like kind of fighting off the sleep a little bit because it was just so soothing.
Right.
And I remember like when I was there, because I'm bilocating, I'm like, I look over and I see and I realize I'm on a ship. And I immediately think to myself, oh my God, this is the ship that Corey Good talked about.
Interesting.
And I was like, I kind of got a little excited, but I looked over and I could see like this, I'm not even really sure what to call it, control board,
Mm-hmm.
but it had lights on it. Like it had all these lights on it. There weren't like actual, like physical
Toggles and
things.
switches.
Yeah, yeah. It was just lights. It was just this light board. And I was like, oh my gosh. But again, that like heaviness of sleep is coming over me. And they're just like, just relax. And they were so happy to see me. I could feel their joy. Like they were so happy to see me. And I just
Mm-hmm.
felt so nurtured and welcomed and loved. And I was just kind of like, who are you guys? I could feel myself falling into that deep sleep, and they started to work on my upper chest, like around this area, like my
Mm-hmm.
upper chest, around my collarbone, and on the backside too. And they were working on it. I was like fascinated, like, what are they doing? And then I fell asleep.
Hmm.
I finally succumbed to that heaviness and I fell asleep. The really interesting thing about all of that is that over the past couple of weeks, since I received that activation with this blue crystal and divine sovereignty, that divine sovereignty meditation was downloaded. All of my clients, well, even before then, I recall having one client in every session that I've had over the past 2.5 weeks, going on 3 weeks. Every client, some sort of energy has come in where I'm addressing this area
Hmm.
between the heart chakra and the throat chakra. It's like this area right here. And I really didn't pick up on it. I didn't pick up on like the connection with them all until my last client, where I actually saw a being that works with her. It wasn't a blue avian, but it was one of the star beings that works with her. I saw them, they had a crystal and they were working on an area right in here.
Hmm.
And it was like they were pulling energy out, but they were also like activating energy in this
Right.
area. So that was like this repetitive pattern. As I was like, oh my gosh, like almost everyone I could think of that I've been working on the past couple of weeks, this was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the heck is this? And then yesterday, this person commented on our last live and talked about how they could see this kind of like a cape
Cape.
around this part of the body. They would be sitting on the beach and they could see this person is clairvoyant, and they could see this energy field on certain people. And my understanding, again, what happened is when I read that comment, it activated, and I was able to go to the Akashic records, and I instantly had this knowledge, this awareness that, because this person was saying there's like it's like a sheet of light, but then sometimes there would be like a sheet of darkness. That sheet that they're or that cape, that sheet of energy that's sort of like this really short little cape, it signifies divine sovereignty. Because divine sovereignty goes beyond like a concept. It goes beyond a knowing. It's an actual frequency. It's a frequency that we carry in our bodies. And our programming has deactivated it in a way, if you will.
Yes.
So that's why a lot of people, they may have, for those who are clairvoyant, may see like this dark energy in this area. Divine sovereignty has a lot to do. That's why it's in it. I kept seeing it here because it comes from a place of the heart, but also speaking one's truth, right? The expression of truth. So that's why this person would see like this dark energy behind someone, because that isn't activated within them. Exactly. But those people that they would see that it was a light, it was this cape of light, those people had it activated. So that is so exciting. Oh my gosh, it makes me so giddy. That is what's happening. That is what's happening. Yes. That there is this activation of divine sovereignty for massive amounts of people right now. It's not just a concept that we're like intellectually, we're like, okay, yeah, I think I understand. Or it's not like, I mean, an even deeper sense of that is a knowing, but how can we know something if it hasn't been activated, right? It's like we have that ability because we're just awesome that way. We're awesome creatures of light in a human physical form, but that activation is occurring, which is super, super exciting in my opinion.
You know what I got from that just now is you were activated, and in your line of work, the people that are coming to you, that you're sensing this activity going on with them at some level yourself, you're seeing that. What I gathered from it is that you were activated and shown how to activate those who are specifically sent to you. Does that make sense? Totally. You're doing those activations for them. You know, because like I said, you play a deeper role in all of this, and you know, you're being worked on is similar to the stories that Jeannie would give, and a couple of others, but you are a conduit. You've been having direct contact, right? And so, as a person who's having direct contact, there's obviously a reason for it, and your line of work is not a coincidence either. You know. And the fact that you're taking on that amount of clients and having the same level of experience and energy exchange, you are activating them. I believe that people are sent to certain people. That's, I believe, how we came to be. You know, you're sent to certain people, certain quadrants of skill sets that need to be turned on. It's like if you were in the military, for example, and you have to go get specialized training, there's certain people that you have to go see. They may be in the Philippines, they may be in Thailand, they may be in North Africa, it doesn't matter. You have to go see those people in order to get that skill level.
Yeah. That makes sense. Thanks for sharing that. I want to emphasize, though, that this is happening among like what I was shown, because, you know, with my client, I saw that different star being. Like, this is something that is happening specifically among the Starseeds for sure, but it goes beyond that too. Like there is a great number of people, there's a great number of star beings that they have all came to an agreement, like this is what we're going to do. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to we're going to activate this piece for this group of this wave of people who are ready for it. Okay, so yeah, when we're talking about like there's a big wave of people that are awakening, that's what it is. They're
Exactly.
awakening to that divine sovereignty, that frequency within.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like those people who have already awakened, right? It's like they're awakening to a higher level. And then those people who haven't been awakened are awakening to another level, a higher
Right.
level, you know?
Higher than the interval steps that we went through. So it's like you could jump from being asleep to being, on level 6 right off the bat. And again, that's another reason why, like in the exterior world, you're seeing all of this chaos and confusion that's subsequently being dumped into the collective consciousnesses. People don't have any idea what's happening to themselves, let alone what's happening in the world.
Totally. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is so fascinating to me and exhilarating.
Yes.
So
Very.
freaking cool.